Okay, next for our continuation, we have chapter 5. Sorry, 5 na ta, no? So, fundamental identities. Now, in this chapter, we shall develop and use 8 relations between the trigonometric functions of an angle. So, you have the reciprocal relation, the quotient relation, and the Pythagorean relation. Now, example of an identity, you have their at a identity, no, x plus y squared and then x squared plus 2xy plus y squared, meaning to say ang left expression is equal to the right expression. Okay, now example of ang conditional equation, you have the 3x plus 5 is equal to -4. So there is a certain value of x to satisfy the equality sign, so you call that one equal. So you have the, ito basahin na. An equation is a statement that two expressions are equal. If for certain values of the variables in the equation the equality holds, then the equation is said to be conditional. However, if for all values of the variables in the equation the equality holds, the equation is an identity. Okay, so take note. So you have here the 8 fundamental identities. The reciprocal relation, sine theta is equal to 1 over cosecant, or the reciprocal may be cosecant is equal to 1 over sine. So for cosine is 1 over sec, and then for secant is 1 over cos. And then tangent is 1 over cot, and then cot would be 1 over tan. For our quotient relation, tangent is sine over cos, and then cot is cos over sine. And then lastly, you have the Pythagorean relation. Okay, so for our Pythagorean relation, you have your sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equal to 1. And then you have number 7, 1 plus tangent squared theta is equal to secant squared theta. And then lastly, you have 1 plus cotangent squared theta is equal to cosecant squared theta. These identities can be verified using the figure below. So you have here a distance 1, and then y, and then x. So from the figure, sine theta would be y over 1, or simply y, no? Hence, cosecant theta would be 1 over y, or 1 over sine. Similarly, cosine theta is equal to x over 1, or simply x. Then secant theta is 1 over x, or 1 over cosine theta. Also, since tangent theta is equal to y over x, then cotangent theta would be x over y, or 1 over y over x, or that could equate to 1 over tangent theta. For our derivation of the quotient relation, since tangent theta is equal to y over x, then we could express y as sine and x as cosine. For our Pythagorean relation, from the figure, since x squared is equal to since x squared plus y squared is equal to 1, then substitute na natin ang value, no? Sa x is cosine man. So cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equal to 1. Mo na siya, no? Then if we divide the equation by cosine squared theta, kani, if we then divide the whole equation by cosine squared theta, so you have there sine over cos becomes tangent. Nanata sa next page. So muna akong pasabot, no? So sine over cos becomes tangent, cos over cos is 1, and then 1 over cos is secant squared. Similarly, in the same equation, sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equal to 1. Kung ato siya i-divide og sine squared theta, mo ni outcome, no? So you have there 1 plus cot is equal to cosecant squared theta. Solve the problem. Prove that sine A, secant A, cotangent A is equal to 1. So by the identity number 2, so we convert secant as 1 over cos. And then identity number 5, quotient relation. For cot, that is cosine over sine. Then you could cancel diagonally as long as numerator over denominator. So cos of cos sa diha, no? So equal ang left expression sa right expression. So 1 is equal to 1. So prove na to. Next is prove that secant theta times the quantity secant theta minus cos theta equals tangent square theta. Next we eliminate the grouping symbols. So by distributing secant theta. So you have secant squared theta minus sec theta cos theta. Okay. Now, by the identity number 2, we could replace secant theta as 1 over cos. So makancel na yun, no? So what is left is secant squared theta minus 1. Now, if we base it on number 7, secant squared theta minus 1, okay, balik ta. In number 7, secant, if we're going to transpose 1 to the other side, that is equivalent to secant squared theta minus 1, which is equal to tangent. So, money outcome niya. Tangent squared theta equal to tangent squared theta. Okay? So, you're going to solve the exercises here. I-solve ninyo, no? Mga simple naman kayo na. Kaya rin na ninyo. Okay? Next is we have the addition and double angle formulas. For the function of sum and difference, actually na siya is procedure, no? Nga ni come up ani. So iya ring i-direct dire. As we come along, since mo na atong guide, no? OD di magsugod sa OD, and then we could get the value for OC and CD. So to get OC is ano naman? Okay, as well as theta. So diya magsugod. Nanay procedure na pagkuha ni, no? So anyway, gihatag naman daan. Sin theta plus phi is the double angle of sin theta cosine phi plus cosine theta sin phi. So maka-encounter mo inani gani class. So let's say sin alpha plus beta. So may mo na siyang sin alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sin beta. Okay? Meaning to say, the two different angles, no? Dili na siya sin theta plus sin phi. Okay? Dili pwede ma-distribute ang sin sa kada angle. So, the way of expanding it is this is the proper way. Okay? So, sa number 2, if it is minus sa dire. Okay? Again, ma-prove ni siya all of here, ma-prove using this figure. Okay? Kani diri magsugod, no? Ang proof na to. But anyway, gidirekta raman niya daan, no? And then cosine theta plus phi is cosine theta cosine phi minus sin theta sin phi. If it is minus, plus sad. Okay? So that's the difference there. For number 5, what we do class is ato i-divide ning number 1 sa number 3. So pag divide aning value sa number 1 ug number 3, mao ni ang outcome. Okay? So mag-cancel man na. So muna siya may tabo, no? So i-divide ing number 1 sa number 3, that will be sine over cos. So you have tan. And then you divide each. So you have the tangent theta plus tangent phi. 1 minus tangent theta tangent phi. If it is minus, i-dividing number 2, number 4. Dividing 2 sa 4. Okay? So, muna siya may magawasan. For cotangent, the reverse ra, no? So, i-dividing 3 sa 1, and so on. Okay? So, diya magsugod. Example. Okay, so we have here an example. Prove the identity. Following identity. Sin theta plus phi times sin theta minus phi is equal to sin squared theta minus sin squared phi. Okay? So the expansion of sin theta plus phi is from our identity number 1, no? Sa addition angle. So, sine theta cosine phi plus cosine theta sine phi. For minus, sine theta cosine phi minus cosine theta sine phi. Next step is equals diya, no? Sa right expression. Next step is, unsa may ang gibuhat sunod? Ka-foil ni, no? Pag foil niya, na ay na-cancel. So, pag cancel mo ni nabilin. Sine squared theta cosine squared theta minus cosine squared theta sine squared theta. Kabalo po mo foil, no? Sigurado ta na, madahan, dili mo kabalo. Okay, so next is, sa naman diri? We express cosine squared phi as 1 minus sine squared phi. Pwede na, no? From the Pythagorean relation. And then we express cosine as 1 minus sine squared. Then we distribute. Pag distribute niya, na ay common. So, ang nabilin is sine squared theta minus sine squared phi equal to our right expression. So, done. Functions of twice an angle, the double angle. Okay? To do that, asa naman to? Okay, ano na siya? Kaning phi, gilisdan ra o the same angle, theta. So, ngayon mo na siya sin theta, cosine theta, plus cosine theta, sin theta. Meaning to say, pareha ning duwa. So, kung mapareha ning duwa, that would be equivalent to 2 sin theta, cosine theta. That's why, yung answer is sin 2 theta is equal to 2 sin theta, cosine theta. For cosine 2 theta, or the double angle of theta, if atong i-replace ning theta, phi by theta, so that becomes cosine 2 theta. So, kani, cosine theta minus sin theta, sin theta. So, what comes up next? So, may mo ni siyang cosine squared theta minus sin squared theta. Okay, so muna di ang outcome, no? So, for tangent, the same. For tangent, kung atong ilisdan ning phi og theta, so that becomes tan 2 theta. So, ilisdan ning phi og theta, theta po na. So, tan theta plus tan theta, that will give us 2 tan theta. 1 minus tan theta times tan theta is tangent squared theta. So, makita na ito dili ang value, no? So, you have there 2 tan theta, 1 minus tangent squared theta. The same with cotangent. So, sa cotangent, ilisdan na gyapon ning phi og theta. Ilisdan na gyapon ng phi og theta. So, what's the result there? Cotangent squared theta minus 1 all over 2 cot theta. Okay, that's it. Okay? So, let's prove the following identity. So, you have there sin 3 theta is equal to 3 sin theta minus 4 sin cube theta. So, ang gibuhat aning sin 3 theta, iyang gi-separate, no? Iyang gi-regroup. So, that pwede na ito siya ma-express as 2 theta plus theta. Okay? And then, gagamitan na ito og double angle, o addition of angle, addition of angle. So, you have sin 2 theta cosine theta plus cos 2 theta sin theta. The expanded formula, okay? For addition angle. Then, what comes next? The double angle of sin 2 theta is 2 sin theta cosine theta. And then the double angle of cosine 2 theta is cosine squared theta minus sin squared theta. And then we simplify. Cosine times cosine is cosine squared. And then we distribute sin theta to eliminate the grouping symbols. What's next? So, may sunod ang ron. We convert cosine squared theta as 1 minus sin squared theta. Likewise with cosine squared, ato i-convert as 1 minus sin squared. And then bring down sin cube. Okay? So, nakita mo na ito nga ang technique ani, unsay na ay common sa right, imong parehason sa left. Okay? Ano? Unsay ato ang padulong man ta sa right, no? Atong basis is from the right man. So nakita na to unsay mga function sa right, atong parehason na, no, sa atong left. So naka it express in terms of sine cube, so padulong po ta sa sine cube, no? So in this case, create ta og sine cube. So you have the eliminating the grouping symbols. So you have there 2 sine theta minus 2 sine cube plus sine minus sine cube minus sine cube. So minus 2 minus 1 minus 1, that will give us minus 4. 2 plus 1 will give us 3. So nakita na to, ang left expression equals sa right expression. So equal siya. Then you will answer these exercises, ha? Hinay-hinayin yan eh. And then lastly for today, chapter 7. Okay, so you have half angle and conversion formulas. So the half angle formulas in plain English are as follows. So sine 1/2 theta is equal to plus and minus the square root of 1 minus cosine theta over 2. Asa man nagikuha? From our double angle. Okay? So asa mo itong double angle? So you have here sine ibalhin ning 2 diri, no? So it becomes sine 2 theta all over 2 is equal to sine theta cosine theta up diri na lang sa ta. Asa man 1 minus cos. So kanira tong ano, basta di padulong, no? Na siya. So sige, simplify. Nalimot ako asa nila for a while, ha. Ako i-check. Half angle. Hundred to. So okay. So basically, i-convert pa ang, okay, are you with me? I-convert pa ang kani siya, i-convert pa ning cosine sa in terms of sine. So 1 minus sine squared theta. So in total, cosine 2 theta is equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. So i-transpose ang ako nila ibutan rin, ha. Kailan na mahugaw. So cos 2 theta, that is 1 from here. So 1 minus sine squared theta minus sine squared theta. So in total, that is 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. So getting the equivalent of sine squared theta is cosine 2 theta minus 1. Okay? Then we square, nawala di ang 2. Over 2 na dire, no? From here. Then, we square root both sides. So that becomes sine theta is equal to plus and minus cosine. Bali lagi na ako. So, transpose. Bali na ako, sorry. 1 minus cos 2 theta na siya. Okay? So, 1 minus cos 2 theta all over 2. Okay? So, that is for our sine. Now, kaning theta ato i-convert into half. So, means siya sine theta over 2 plus and minus. So, half of 2 theta is cos theta. Okay? So, diha nagsugod. So, kita na to dire. Now, sine half of theta is 1 minus cos theta all over 2. For cosine, ilista na niyo coming from here, no? The same na gyapon ng principle coming from here. So, i-convert ni gyapon kay wala on na to ni sine. So, i-convert ni in terms of cos. So, dali na lang makibutang, ha? Cos, yun, okay. Cos 2 theta is equal to sagabal cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta. So, i-convert ning sine squared in terms of cos. So, that will give us 1 minus cosine squared theta. So, equivalently, cos 2 theta is 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. So, atong concern is cosine theta naman. So, you have transpose ning 1. So, you have cosine theta, cos 2 theta, i-transpose niyo sa mimong plus. And then, kaning 2, i-over dire, no? Then, squared. So, square root both sides. Cos theta is equal to plus and minus the square root of cosine 2 theta plus 1 all over 2. Okay, check. Okay, so muna, no? Plus and minus cosine theta. Ato i-convert pa ganing theta to half angle. So, half of theta is theta over 2. And half of 2 theta is theta. Okay? So, muna diri ang pagkuha sa tan 1/2 theta, i-divide ni, no? Kaning 2. So, ma-cancel ang 2. So, what is left is 1 minus cos over 1 plus cos. Or, it's the other way around, kaning 3. Okay? So, from the double angle formula, naraman day diri. Yate. Naraman day diri class. Okay? So, ato na nang na-explain. So, mo ni, no? Naagid day diri. Sus, wala man ako natanaw ni. Okay? So, here are the derivations. Kindly look at na lang, no? Okay, so exactly what I meant, no? Sa akong ingon ganina. Mao gyud. Okay? So, kindly go over na lang. Kaya di na mo ganan mo usob, no? Then, sa number 4 o 5, mura ni ang trick, no? Multiply the radicand by 1 plus cos. So, muna yung outcome. Simplify siya sin theta all over 1 plus cos theta. Kung ato po siyang i-multiply og 1 minus cos sin theta to both, bali, arbitrary ni siya. Arbitrary sa ni. Okay? So, you have 1 minus cos sin theta over sin theta. That is in simplifying radicals. Kaya naman ko yung radicals sa atong number 3. No? Example, I think we are almost done na. So ato na lang tiyo na. So prove the following identity. Cosine x is equal to 1 minus tan 1 half of x all over 1 plus tangent 1 half of x. Okay? So paglisod ta diri sa left ug usob kaysa right, no? So diri ta mo usob, atong usbon ni padulong ta sa left. Okay? So you have here ang tangent, the value for unsa man ni? Kulang na gini, no? Squared na siya, na squared. Okay, so na squared class. Okay. Kaysa iyang solution na may squared. Okay, so you have 1 minus tangent squared 1 half of x. So, in quotient relation, pwede na ito maka-sine over cos. Ang 1 plus tangent squared, according to Pythagorean relation, equivalent na siya to secant squared 1 half of x. No? Next is ikuha na itong LCD ni. So, in simplifying, nahimo siyang cosine squared 1 half of x minus sine squared 1 half of x all over cosine squared 1 half of x. Then, we'll get the reciprocal relation for secant, that is 1 over cos. So, at the same time, makancel ni, no? So, what is left is cosine squared 1 half of x minus sine squared 1 half of x. And eventually, this is the result of our double angle, no? This is cos 2 theta. So, cos 2 theta. Our theta is 1 half of x man. So, cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta is cos 2 theta. Okay? So, exactly tunong yun. And then, if simplifying this one, 2 times 1 half will give us 1. So, cosine of x. So, therefore, done. Other conversion formulas in plane trigonometry. We use the following identities. Sin A plus B and sin A minus B. So, ato i-derive niya. Okay? And 1, 2, 3, 4. So, let theta becomes A plus B and phi becomes A minus B. So, kung i-add ning duha, makancel ang puro B, no? Kay plus B ug minus B man. So, the result is 2A. Or A becomes theta plus phi over 2. Kung i-minus ng duha, makancel po ang A, no? So, mahibilin ang B. So, theta minus phi. I-minus ang theta minus phi, I-minus ang theta minus phi, ang B na po may mabilin. Okay? All over 2. So, you have the sin theta is equal to sin theta. Sin A plus B is equal to sin A cosine B. Okay? Take note ha. Sin A plus B is equal to sin A cosine B plus cosine A sin B. Nabali ano yung dua, no? Okay? And sin phi is equal to sin unsa yung phi? Minus ni, no? Sin A minus B is equal to sin A cosine B minus cosine A sin B. Okay? B man kay minus man diha, no? So, kung i-add ning duha, ang sin theta plus sin phi, it will create a common na ay makancel. So, makancel ning usa, no? Kaning a portion of this one. Kaning plus and minus, makancel. So, it will result nga duha ka inani. That's why i-create siya there 2 sin theta plus phi over 2 cosine theta minus phi over 2. Okay? So, eventually, pwede natin na masimplify as 2 sin 1 half of theta plus phi cosine 1 half theta minus phi. And this is the result of our number 1. Okay, number 1, dara. Number 1 here, okay? The other conversion formulas can be derived in similar manner. So, muna to i-guide na to. So, kung ito i-minus, lahi na po yung masubtract ato, no? So, example, prove that sine 4a plus sine 2a is equal to all over cosine 4a plus cosine 2a is equal to tangent 3a. Okay? So, lahi ning angle ning 4a, lahi po ning angle ning 2a. Okay? So, tag sine theta plus sine phi. So, ang standard na 2 sine 1 half 4a plus 2a cosine 1 half 4a minus 2a. Sa cos ug cos, unsa may expansion sa cos ug cos? Ayay, sayop ni. Cos na siya, class. Okay, cos. Cos pa na siya. Okay. Cosine theta minus cosine phi. Okay. So, sa cos, so you have, muna yung expansion, no? 2 cos ug cos. So, you have there 2 cos 1 half 4a plus 2a cosine 1 half 4a minus 2a. So, ato siya may simplify, makancel ang 2. 1 half of 6 is 3. So, sine 3a, cancel maning 2, no? So, sine 3a over cosine 3a, tangent 3a ang ato answer. Okay? So, correct. So, we will answer these exercises. Okay? So, akong i-end ni nga video. Once again, thanks for your time. Sorry again for the inconvenience, no? The availability of my videos. Karon nangusog na pud ko. Okay? So, ana. Okay? So, bawi-bawi ra ba? In our Bisaya. Okay? Nakabawi sad ko. Okay? Thank you. I love you all. Bye-bye.